Well, hello there, my friends. So excited that you are joining me for this webinar. Let me just kick right off. Let's go right into it. Here's the reality. You are going to succeed at a much different level in your career, in your life, in your relationships, in your leadership when you improve your communication skills. Okay, boom, that's it. We just kind of leveled it off there for you. When you take steps to improve your communication skills, whether it's reading a book, whether it's writing in a journal, whether it's practicing, whether it's watching TED Talks, whether it's buying a course, whether it's getting a coach, whether it's getting more and more and more opportunities to communicate from the front. When you take steps to improve, your career is going to flourish, because here's why. There's so much research, so much data that just shows 70% of most business professional jobs require some form of public speaking. It's up to 70% of your job is public speaking. Whether you're speaking in front of your team over a Zoom, whether you're leading a sales presentation, whether you're doing an update for the team at work, you've got to learn how to communicate, and you've got to communicate in a strong way. So your career will flourish. Then, if you learn public speaking skills, it just sets off alarms and flags to your leadership, your supervisor, their bosses, the C-suite, whoever you have, and you are able then to connect and communicate with them in a way that's just powerful. And when they see you can communicate, when you can stand up in front of a room and hold your own, then they're going to look for different ways to promote you. They're going to look for different ways to give you different leadership. And so this is really important for you to be able to handle. Then in your own relationships, I mean, we don't have time to go into all of that, but for Pete's sakes, like, you will be able to experience a peace of mind in your relationships with your spouse, with your partner, with your children, with your family members that you've never had before, because you now are improving your communication skills, which means that you are breathing life into them with your communication. All of that to said, today we are talking about the presentation blueprint. We're talking about the presentation blueprint. And this is a brand new resource that Speak with People has produced. And so we're doing this free webinar for you. You can watch it now. You can watch it later. It'll be on our YouTube page. All the links will be on the Facebook and the LinkedIn page. We'll also put this in the Speak with People community group. But what I've really tried to do, what Speak with People's really tried to do with this resource, is we've tried to reach into our toolbox. We tried to reach into our bag of tricks. We've tried to reach into our best recipe, and we've tried to hand you it on a plate. Now, here's the reality. This template, this presentation blueprint, you can buy. It's listed on our store. You can get it when you go to speakwithpeople.com/the presentation blueprint. Fast forward to May 31st, and you will be able to buy the course. And the course will be $197. The blueprint template's $147. If you buy the course, you get the template with it. But we gave you for free step 2 of the template. There are 6 steps to the template. Now, let me back up for a second. I was working with a client. Her name was Joy. If you listen to the podcast series, you've heard this story, but it's worth hearing again. Joy was an incredible worker. She had raving reviews on all of her performance evaluations. She was just killing it and crushing it. She was with her company for 15 years. She loved her company. She was the perfect behind-the-scenes worker. And some of you can relate to Joy. You love the behind-the-scenes stuff. You don't want to ever be up front. I'm married to someone like that. She does not ever want to speak on camera. She doesn't want to be up front. She doesn't want to do the crazy things I attempt, like last Sunday night, an open mic 5-minute set for a comedy club. She doesn't want to do any of that kind of stuff. Maybe you relate. Well, one day, Joy goes into her supervisor's office. Supervisor said, Joy, I've got good news. In 2 months, the regional sales meeting's coming up. And you know this is a big deal. We do it every year. Joy's like, yeah, I plan it. I make sure all the details are done. And she plans it incredibly well. And so she makes sure everything is done and complete, and everything is, pulled into place for that. So The supervisor looks at Joy and says, this year I've picked the speaker and it's going to be you. Well, Joy was not happy with that. Joy was not happy at all with that because Joy had told her supervisor, her boss, many times, I'm not a speaker. I'm not the upfront communicator. I'll take care of all the behind the scenes stuff. I'll come in early. I'll stay late. Just never put me in front of people. Well, her supervisor knew a secret that supervisors know. And I've done this so many times throughout the years. I've done this so many times when I have, made sure that as I'm leading someone, I know that when they learn skills to be able to communicate in front of people, their leadership just skyrockets. It just sends a flare off that this person is a leader and people listen to them differently now when they're able to stand up and captivate an audience with conviction, with confidence, and in a captivating way. And so Joy's boss said, hey, you got 2 months to prepare. You're going to do great. And Joy, and the boss was like, no. So Joy went home. She's complaining. She's pissed off. She's so angry about it. And she makes dinner for her family and she goes to bed and then she opens up her computer because she can't sleep. It's 11 o'clock at night. She starts to work on the presentation. And by the time 1 o'clock comes by, she's got nothing. And so she goes into work the next day. The next week has a meeting with her supervisor. Supervisor says, how's the presentation coming along? Joy says, it's not because I don't want to do this. And so another week goes by, another week, literally a month goes by, 5 weeks go by. And supervisor's like, let me see what you got so far. Let's talk it through. And Joy's like, I just have a bunch of ideas on a document. I don't even know how to put them together. I don't know how to formulate any clear, articulate thoughts. I don't want to do this. She was so mad. She wasn't sleeping. She wasn't eating. Her stomach was in nerves. Just thinking about getting in front of 150 people at a breakout at the regional sales meeting. That was just ticking her off. She actually thought about applying for other jobs, but she had been there so long. She's like, what do I do? 2 weeks beforehand, her boss sits down with her and says, okay, give me the presentation. And Joy said, I don't have anything. I don't know what to do here. I don't know how to put this together. Joy was smart, but she was also ticked off. So she wasn't going to websites and putting together, all this other kind of stuff. And finally, her boss says, have I not shared with you the presentation blueprint? Have I not shared that with you? And Joy's like, no, you have not shared that with me. Like, what the heck's going on there? And so finally, later that day, at the very end of the day, her boss emails her this. This is the template. It's a 6-step plan. It's proven. It's successful. Why do I know that? Because I've been the one to help develop it over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of presentations over the last 28 years. And I don't say that in an arrogant tool kind of way. It's just what it is. I've been paid 500 plus times to communicate from a stage, and then I don't know, another 1,000 times just to give some type of presentation, whether it's information or persuasion or whatever it is. That night, Joy goes home, does dinner, gets the kids in bed, finally sits in the bed at 10 o'clock. She opens up her laptop, opens up the email to the presentation template. She starts going through it. And she is getting more angry and more angry at the moment because, again, this is a step-by-step plan. And so it takes all of your big thoughts and your ideas and it bubbles them down into one big idea statement. And that's the gold of it. That's the gold because Joy had been researching. She had ideas that she wanted to share, but she was just trying to find clarity. And clarity is your superpower as a presenter. It's your absolute superpower. Even if you're not a Simon Sinek and Oprah Winfrey, all of those incredible communicators, you can still crush your presentations. You can crush your trainings. You can crush your updates by just being clear. That's it, being clear. And so when you prepare with confidence, when you start, you know how to formulate the stuff together, and then it starts coming together, the clarity, it's going to add such a boost of confidence to you. And then you're going to deliver in a way that you never even anticipated. So Joy, 1 o'clock in the morning, she's putting all this information in the template. 2 o'clock in the morning, she's through step 3. 4 o'clock, she's at step 4. She finally goes to bed. Has the best sleep that she's ever had. But because she has kids, she has to be up at 7 o'clock in the morning. So she only got 3 hours of sleep. But she woke up restful. She's now, it's a whole different person, whole different leader. Goes into work, boss calls her in and says, hey, what do you think about that presentation template? Presentation blueprint. And Joy's like, first of all, I'm mad at you. Excuse me 1 second. Little product placement there. I'm mad at you because you could have gave this to me weeks ago. It's provided such a peace of mind. It's given me such a satisfaction of knowing what to do. And then second of all, it's done. Like I worked through it. I want to tell you about it right now. So they talked about it. The boss was excited, had some tweaks, had some changes. They started working on it. So literally a week before, she's now done. She's rehearsing it. She's going through step 5, which is all about practice and rehearsal. And we've got a little different take on how to practice and rehearse. And so that's, again, in the template. And so this is what happens when you have a clear structure. So if you never downloaded the freebie, you need to go to speakwithpeople.com/the presentation blueprint. And right on the screen, there is a button right in the very home screen. There's a button that says freebie. And you are going to be able to download this. This is step 2. What you're going to get in this free download is you're going to get a filled out box, and then you're going to get an empty box. And it's just a Google Doc. It's just a Google Doc. And one of the best things you can do is cut and copy this Google Doc, and then you're able to go over and then figure it out. And then you have this template to be able to work through. So it's pretty amazing. And so for me, as I've been presenting and putting together presentations for years, I want to make the process simple. There's so many great structures out there, right? The pyramid principle, there's a score method. I mean, there's so many I could list off, but I'm not going to. One second. So you want to be able to have something that works for you. And so this may not ultimately work for you. This has been developed over years. Years ago, one of my favorite communicators on the planet, Ken Davis, wrote an incredible book. And in his book, he talks about the SCORE method, SCORRE. And this is a method for getting, extreme clarity in your talk. You start with the subject, then you go on to the central theme, then you go into the objective statement, then you do your rationale, your resources, and your evaluation. It's great stuff. No doubt this has been influenced from the SCORE method. This has been influenced from my freshman year speech class at Eastern Michigan University. No doubt this has been influenced by the pyramid principle. But I've taken the best of all of those things and tried to put them together with what works in my simple brain. And I'm not putting myself down. I'm just saying I wanted to work out a template that anybody could pick up and go through simply, practically, that could provide a killer presentation. And so most of the problem that communicators have when it comes to presenting is not knowing how to put all their information together. One of the big no-nos that presenters do is they speak at people. And when you speak at people, you're not connecting with them because you're confusing what the word communicate means. Communication actually means to share. To share comes from a Latin word. And many of us, we think the word communication means to inform, to tell our opinion, to dump information. That's not what communication means. To communicate means to share. And so what this does is you take all of the information that you've been researching. And in the presentation blueprint, we don't go over how to research. We do that in the Speak Like a Leader course. That's another online demand course that you can get. If you go to speakwithpeople.com/speaklikealeader, speakwithpeople.com/speaklikealeader, we go through the 8-step pathway to help you become a captivating, confident speaker. And we walk through the entire process. We start with the internal work that has to happen. We go through this process. We go through how to prepare and research in a way that will give you all the information that you possibly could need for a million talks. But in this, we just go through the template. So you have the step-by-step guide to presenting just an incredible opportunity, And so that's what we do. That's what we want to be. That's what we want to be able to do. That's what we want to be able to structure. And so we try to speak with people to give you some of our best stuff. And what we did was, if you download step 2, it's not focusing, but if you download step 2, this is really the meat and potatoes of the presentation blueprint. I hope you go and buy the rest of it because all 6 steps are insanely important. All 6 steps create an amazing experience. All 6 steps do that. But step 2 really is the gold. It's the gold. It's because Joy was struggling with figuring out how to take all that information, and summing it down into one sentence. And it's like, as a kid, I remember watching cartoons, and there's always a prospector, right? There was a prospector in Rudolph. There was a prospector, in some of the old cartoons, and he's out there chipping down the mountain with his hammer. And finally, he's got this little pan, and it's got, clumps on there and dirt and rocks, and he's got it in the stream, and he's trying to get rid of all the excess stuff. Why? Because he wants to find that one gold nugget, This is what the presentation blueprint does. It helps you find the one gold nugget. That's it. That's what it does. And so I think, friends, if you go through this, you're going to find that it is a powerful structure. It is an opportunity for you to learn at an incredible different rate. Incredible different rate. It will provide unparalleled clarity. It'll help you expertly craft your presentations. It'll help you refine your content. It will help you write a big idea statement that people will remember. It'll help you find the gold. And you'll expose the clarity of all the research and all the upfront work that you did. So this is it. So here's what I want to do. This webinar is not super long. I wanted it to be helpful. And so, we've just provided you with kind of going right to it. So here's the thing. If you've never downloaded this, you've got to go to speakwithpeople.com/the presentation blueprint. And it's right on the home screen. And you can get right to it. I was trying to bring it up for you so you can see it right now. Let's see if I can make this work with this fancy dancy technology. So when you go to the page, you'll see, let me move this right over here. So you'll see, okay, here we've got the page open. And then right there, you barely had to scroll. Right there is the information. You just click on the download freebie button. And yes, we are going to ask for your email. We don't, we try not to ask too often. But here's the thing as well. Why would you not want us to have your email? Every week we send out a communication guide that gives you tips to become a more effective communicator. Man, get that email. Get it so you can start to learn how I can continue to improve my skills. So now you're taken to this page, the download clarity page, and you'll be able to do that. Now, also on this page, I just want to make sure you know and realize, okay, this is where you can go buy the template. And you can go buy all 6 steps today. If you wait till May 31st, the course will be out. And then you can get the course that walks through each step with the template. And then do you feel prepared? I mean, this is, so many of us are going through stuff. This is what the presentation blueprint does for you. There's a video that talks about it. This is what's in the template. So it walks you through each step. Here is each of those areas. So you can download the freebie. You can buy the template. You can buy the course on May 31st. And then here's the entire podcast series. We did an entire free podcast series that laid all of this out for you. So, we're really proud of it. We're really proud of the work. We think it's going to be a giant help for you. And I'd love for you to go through it. Okay, now, if you downloaded this and printed it out, or you just have it on your screen, would love to go through this right now. So the step 2, which is the meat and potato of the presentation blueprint, is to develop clarity, right? You want to develop clarity. Clarity is your best friend. It is your absolute superpower. Would absolutely love it. So you gotta get your focus and details together. So the first, and this is it's just a box, right? And what we have you do in the instructions, every page has a list of directions, and then it walks you through. So you're going to want to cut and copy the empty box into your new presentation document. And I'm a little old school, so I know I'm going against the grain here, but I don't create a presentation in a presentation software like PowerPoint or Keynote or Google Slides. I don't start that way. If you start that way, great. I'm encouraging you to do a different way here. It's a little bit of the longer road. It's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy. Every time I coach a leader, they're like, wow, this is a lot of work. Yes, but clarity demands it. Clarity demands hard work. And what you're trying to do as a presenter is provide solutions for your customers' problems, your audience's problems, whoever they are, whether it's you're selling something, you're persuading them, you're informing them, you are providing solutions. And it's a pretty powerful moment. So you take this in your Google Doc, and then you start with the problem. What is the problem your audience is facing? Because really, what you're going to present is going to be a mix of something that's a burning passion on you in your soul, and then mostly what your audience is facing. What is the primary problem that they're facing in this situation? How does it affect them negatively? How does it affect them negatively? How does this disrupt their daily life? And will it disrupt the large amount of people in the audience? So research that problem. Go to town. Get your, open up the books. Watch the YouTube videos. Do the data research. Get the numbers. So assemble all of that and then start combing through it for those connection points. Again, we put that in the Speak Like a Leader course. Then you work on the key area. So then you're just moving right down. You're moving right down. Now you work on the key area. And from your research, what is the key area or primary topic that describes or defines this problem? This is the big picture of your presentation. You got to make sure the topic falls in line with the problem your audience is facing, and you've researched the solutions adequately. That's the key area. Then, one more, you move down to the focused idea. So when it comes to your topic, what is the short and crystal clear focused idea that you're concentrating on? This should be practical and real. And if the key area is the big picture, the focused area is the selfie. It's the right up on top of it. So now you can see how you're taking all the data, all the stuff that you've done, and you're just kind of moving it down. You're moving it down. So now you get to the no. The next step on the template is the no. And this is, what does your audience need to know about this problem and the focused area? How does it affect them? What are the positive stakes? This is what can happen if they decide to accept what you're presenting. And so they need to understand. They need to know what those are. And now that all builds us to developing the big idea statement. And maybe you call it the learning objective. Maybe you call it the one-liner, whatever you call it. I call it the big idea because I want it to be this mind-blowing statement that when people hear it, they want to tweet it. They want to exit or whatever it's called. That's what they want to do. It's the one statement that they want to hold on to. So your big idea statement should resonate deeply and spark understanding. It's really the rallying cry. It promises resolution, and it could be a revolution. Do you want a revolution? And it drives real impact. So this is the one thing you want your entire audience to know about their problem and the solution that you're presenting. It should be memorable, repeatable, actionable. Say that with me. Memorable, repeatable, actionable. This is the solution to their problem. It's something that you repeat throughout your delivery. Take your time writing this. Wrestle with it. The big idea is so incredibly important. It's so incredibly important. And so you don't want to just settle on words. You want to move them around. If you have to, go to ChatGPT. Type it in. Ask it not to sound like a robot. Try to get it in your tone and voice. But then, from the big idea, you go to the bridge. Now, what's the bridge, you ask? This is simply the main points. It's the 3 points. I just did a brilliant podcast interview, Speak with People podcast. If you've never listened to it, I just did a brilliant podcast with Andrea Pensini. You'll never guess he's from Italy. Andrea Pensini. He was brilliant. We talked about his book, Confident Presenter. And he talked about how if you really want your presentations to work, you'll only have 3 points. It's just our human brain is wired to accept a 3-step plan. Shakespeare, all of the plays, 3-act plays, and the 3-step plan substantiates and reinforces your big idea. It addresses the fundamental question, why, that's lingering in your audience's minds. Why does this matter to me? Why is this important? And so these points should offer actionable solutions. They each serve to bolster and pave the way from problem to solution. They function as a bridge. They fortify. They underpin your overarching idea. They provide a clear pathway to understand what your proposed solution is. So if your big idea takes people from the problem to the solution, the main points act as the bridge to get you to that solution. It's powerful. Then the next thing on the template is the assets. And so assets to me are the creative elements that bring everything alive. The reality is most research shows that people will have forgotten 70% of what they heard the next day. The next day. I recently worked on a presentation for 4 months. 4 months. 4 months. I presented it to a group of elite performers from a Fortune 200 company. And I'm hoping they didn't forget about all 70% by the next day. There's things that we presenters do that can help. More of that's in the rest of the presentation template, and some of those are tricks. But whatever assets, statistics, charts, graphs, images, videos, props, giveaways, stories, what are those things that you're going to really bring everything alive? You're going to bring everything alive. It's, this positive moment where you can bring it alive. And then you're then going to do the do, which, is basically your CTA, your call to action. And this has got to be compelling. It's a call to action that concludes your presentation. It ignites inspiration. It motivates your audience because you want them to take actionable steps towards improving their lives or purchasing your product. It clarifies for your audience what they can actually experience the solution that you've presented, and it provides it in a tangible, practical way. And then lastly, on step number 2, I put the title. I don't start with the title because we live in a YouTube world, and I end with the title because now that I've done all of this work, I've done the gold prospecting, I get everything focused and I bring it down. Now I can really think of a title that will pop SEO on YouTube. And that's what I want to be able to do. My email is jason@speakwithpeople.com. jason@speakwithpeople.com. I would love to answer any of your questions about this template. I went through a very quick overview with you. When the course drops, each step of this has its own video, and we walk through how you can put this together and really crush your presentations. Because when you get clarity right, your presentations will just absolutely succeed. Absolutely succeed in a crazy powerful way. So I can't thank you enough. We've had a couple of leaders on our podcast over the last year and a half who have done incredible books. I'll put these in the comments, but Andrea Passini, his book, Confident Presenter. Jacqueline Farrington, her book, Better Presentations, was amazing. Her podcast episode was amazing. Dr. Christy McMullen has an amazing book on presentations. I'm going to put the links to all of these in there. And I'm just asking, would you share this with people that you know? And would you go back through it? Download the freebie. Make sure you go through it. And then this is an incredible investment for your presentations, because when you make this investment and you get the clarity right, you walk through all 6 steps. Remember, we just went through the second step. You walk through all 6 steps. I'm telling you, you're going to crush your presentations. People are going to take notice of your leadership because of how well you communicated up front. And that's what we want for you. Speak with People. We exist to empower leaders to become healthy and influential, whether you communicate one-on-one, to a team, from a stage, or from a screen. Thank you so much for joining me. I cannot wait. We're going to put this on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@speakwithpeople. This will go in our Speak with People community Facebook group, and appreciate you checking out our resources. Let me know again if there's anything I can do to help you, and I cannot wait to hear the success you have with your presentations. Thanks.